Hey everyone, it's Amber with AmberMarieandCompany. I'm going to show you today how to make a beautiful blue and orange spring wreath for your door. It's going to have hydrangeas and tulips. It's going to be absolutely gorgeous. So stick around with me, watch. You can buy all of these products at AmberMarieandCompany.com and follow along with me on this video and make one for your door too. So while you're here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and follow us. We're always doing all kinds of fun videos, lots of do-it-yourself videos, and also just things about trends and tips for your home. So follow along with me today and let's get to making. All right, so here I have all of my products that I'm going to be using for the spring wreath. The very first thing is this is an 18-inch grapevine wreath right here. Always use grapevine wreaths for a lot of my wreaths, especially for spring and fall. I've got two of these really cool, it's a mixture. I like this a lot. It's a eucalyptus and it has several different kinds of eucalyptus. A little surprise here of a little fern. So I have two of those. That's going to be the base greenery of my wreath. And then I came in with this lighter color of fern. This is Real Touch fern right here. I like this a lot because of the colors. Obviously it says it's Real Touch, so that means it looks and feels very, very real. And I have 3 stems on this one. This is called a Soft Touch fern. And then I have these gorgeous hydrangeas. Look at this color blue. Ooh, I love it. I have 3 of these we're gonna work with. And then I brought in a lighter color of this cone hydrangea, which is this lighter color blue. So we're gonna be throwing those in there. I have 2 of the cones, 3 of the dark blue. All right, I have 2 bundles of these orange tulips, and then I'm gonna throw in some berries. I have these really pretty, beautiful berry stems. You get 2, almost 3 clippings on this berry stem right here. It's white, and that's just gonna add some little punches of white in with this. I have a couple of little blueberry stems. I love these, and you know what, guys? It's $2.99 for this little stem. So that's a fun little berry to throw in. And then last but not least, I have this really fun butterfly stem. So I picked this because obviously, look at this, it's got our colors. There's kind of an orange and a really dark navy blue, and it's on this little branch. So these are gonna look really fun. And then I'm gonna pull in some Mackenzie Childs with this beautiful royal check ribbon right here. This is really springy and fun. So I think this is gonna be gorgeous as well. I have my scissors, these handy dandy ribbon cutting scissors. I've got a little clip right here, these little nippers that you can use to cut any of your picks. And then of course, I never do a show without Mr. Chompers over here. We've got him and ready to go. So that's all of the products. Again, all of these are available at Amber Marie and Company and more. We have so many flowers. We almost have like our own faux floral shop. It's quite amazing in the store. So you can shop all of this online. So let's get started. I'm going to get jiggy with it here, but I've got to move all of this stuff out of my way. So all the flowers I'm going to move over, get them out of my way here. And there's something else too that's actually kind of fun. I don't have them ready yet, but probably in another video, I'm going to show you how to decoupage some really fun eggs. They are a kind of a cardboard or a, what is it called? Paper mache egg. And I've started the painting process. Then I'm going to decoupage those. And that's also something really fun that you could put in this wreath, but you're gonna have to watch our other video for those because I don't have them done quite yet. Okay, so let's start with our greenery. I've got my scissors. I'm gonna grab my glue pot over here and get it real close to me. I've got this decorating mat that I like to put down on our surface here to make sure that I don't spill any glue. If you do spill glue, it's super easy. You can just peel it off and it just kind of protects your surface, whatever surface that you are working on. Okay, so I'm going to start by let's start with placing our bow, shall we? So I'm gonna make my bow real quick. And this is a 4-inch ribbon, so it's really nice and thick. Sometimes if I would have another coordinating ribbon, like an orange or something like that, I would do that. But since this is Mackenzie ribbon, and I just want it to kind of be the statement, I'm not going to throw in another color with it. I'm just going to use this Mackenzie right here as my bow. Now my wreath is only 18 inches, so I don't want my bow to be too big, right? But I want a nice sized bow that's gonna still make a statement with my pretty flowers. So here I go. I'm just gonna take and pinch. And if you see that I have paint on my fingers, That is from the eggs that we're going to be decoupaging in another video real soon. So we're just going to take this and real easy, just make a 3-loop bow here. I've got 2 loops on one side and 1 loop on the other. I'm going to take and cut right here with my scissors. So I've got some pretty tails hanging down of my Mackenzie. Okay. And then I'm just going to take and I'm going to use my zip ties right here. I'm going to zip tie that bow together. And I always put 1 zip tie around the middle here and then a zip tie on the back because that's actually what I'm going to use to get this bow attached to my wreath. Okay. So if you're a Mackenzie Childs fan, you're going to love this. If you don't love Mackenzie, you can use any kind of blue ribbon. Again, like I said, sometimes I'll use a blue and orange. But since I wanted to put a little Mackenzie flair on this ribbon, I'm just using this Royal Check is what this is called, in 4-inch. And we also do sell this ribbon as well at our store. We are a Mackenzie Childs dealer. So I'm going to take this cute bow here. I'm going to just decide where I want it on my wreath. I've already kind of taken my wreath. That's one of the first things I do. I put it in the most, you know, this is a hand-tied wreath, right, with grapevine. So they're never perfectly round, but I always try to figure out what way or what shape this looks the best. Like this is kind of a little bit of an oval more than a directly round. So I've kind of figured out where I want my bow placement to be on this. If I place my bow over here, I'm going to obviously have lots of flowers over here and then have flowers draping up here as well. I could do the same thing here where I have maybe more of an abundance of flowers coming down and a little bit less flowers up there, which actually I think I'll do because a lot of times I'll put my bow down there at the bottom. But for this tutorial, let's put it a little bit closer up here to the top. Okay, so I'm just securing real tight that zip tie. I'm going to clip it off here just like this. Also, don't forget, clip off all your price tags. I thought I already got that guy, but I didn't. So we'll take that little price tag off so that doesn't surprise us later. Okay, so there we go. I have my little bow in this cute little shape. I like to do this little triple loop bow too because you get the bow shape, but like on a Mackenzie ribbon, right? Mackenzie ribbon is one of those more expensive ribbons. And so I like to only just use 3 loops here because you get the idea. It makes a nice pretty bow because this is a 4-inch ribbon, but you're not using your whole spool of Mackenzie Childs, right? So that means I can use my spool of Mackenzie Childs on another arrangement or something that I might want to do later. Okay, next I have this pretty little eucalyptus spray right here, and I'm going to clip all the price tags off of it. And then I'm going to totally cut this spray apart as well. This is, if you're looking for this online, it's the 26-inch eucalyptus spray. It's $17.99 for this bundle, but I feel like you really do get your money's worth because you get a lot off of this bundle right here. So I'm just going to kind of tear it apart because I like to use all my leaves in different places here. So I'm just going to cut that stem off right there to make it small like this. Right, and so this is my greenery, and I'm going to start by just formulating my wreath just like this. I'm going to take this guy, dip this in my glue pot here. I've got my glue nice and warm, and I'm going to start actually on the top, right under here, right under my bow. There is my first little piece of greenery sticking out just like this. I have 2 of these sprays, these greenery sprays that I purchased. And so I'm going to kind of divide them up. So I use the same amount or close to on top as I use on bottom, right? So I'm just taking that, dipping that in my glue pot here. I want a lot of glue on there because I don't want this thing coming out, right? I'm going to stick it right in here. So if you can see, I'm sticking it right into my wreath, just like this. And I'm kind of going in a circular motion here with what I've done. If you can see that, I'll bring that down just a little bit more so you can see it just a little bit better. And I've kind of made a half circle. So this is kind of like a C-shaped wreath, if you can think about that, right? It's like going to look like the letter C, basically. All right, I've got one more clipping to use right up here on the top, but I'm going to save that for the last because you never know. I kind of have a good little base greenery right now. You never know when you might need this. And since the top of my wreath is not going to be quite as floral heavy as the bottom of my wreath, I'm going to save this in case I need it again on the top or in case I need it on the bottom of my wreath. So I'm just going to put that over to the side and like not try to think about it, okay? Coming in with our second greenery piece right here. I'm gonna take all those tags off again. Oops. Should have done this before the video, but I was kind of in a hurry to get this video going. So I'm going to take these two pieces. Again, I'm just tearing that apart just like this. This is like one of those stems that you can actually kind of tear the pieces apart. When they're wrapped like that, you can tear them apart and you can really pull those stems and you can spread them out on your arrangement. You have a little bit more control over your arrangement that way. So I'm going to take this stem, I'm going to dip it in my glue, and you can see I'm not doing this in really any particular order that I'm dipping these and I'm taking them. I'm just trying to make the shape of my wreath. I'm using that green like as my background. I'm taking it right under the bow. Got to move my ribbon over so I don't glue my ribbon in. And there we go. I'm going to take that first part and just have it hanging right down here. And I'm kind of coming down with this a little bit, kind of straight out from my wreath because I'm going to have flowers. I'm going to have a lot of stuff that's going to cover. So I want these leaves to kind of obviously be able to show down here. So I'm going to take that one there. This next one I'm going to come right into the thick middle of my wreath here. Oh, come on, glue. There we go. Got quite a bit of glue on there, which is good. I want that. Okay, I'm just going to go spray that right down here on the bottom. And then I have one more large pick like this. Okay, I love this. I love this pick in particular because anytime when you can get a greenery pick that has more than one color variation on it or more than one shape of a leaf, I feel like that's a really good added value personally. So when I am shopping for our store, that's something that I look at. And so most certainly when you're shopping to do your own wreath at home, I would recommend that you look at a style of greenery that's going to give you all of that, right? So see, we have the really pretty fern, we've got this eucalyptus, we've got this big silver dollar, we've got this other straight eucalyptus. So there's a lot of different leaves just on that one pick, which I really like. Then coming in with a few little picks that I had left here, I'm going to take this, dip this in my glue, and I'm going to kind of come in here a little bit towards the middle of my wreath and just put a little bit right in there. We got to show the middle of our wreath a little bit of love, right? Because I got kind of a lot going on the outside down here, so I'm just going to stick that little guy right there in the middle. I have one little lone guy left over. I'm putting him to the side because I always like to save one thing. You just never know. When you're creating a wreath from scratch, if it's a wreath you've never done before, I personally will save something over because you just never know. Like there might be a little bit of a oops or a little bit of a, ooh, I didn't really spread that out as far as I wanted to, that you might want to cover up. So that's insurance, right? We're going to put that to the side and use that as insurance for later. Okay, I'm coming in with this really pretty Real Touch. I love this. Love this. And if you guys have seen any videos of me decorating, like I had a video out showing how to use this with a dough bowl. If you saw that video, this is what I use. I love it. They call it Real Touch because it looks so real. And you get a lot of bang for your buck with this too, because I'm going to take this single stem that has 3 different branches, and I'm actually going to cut this one all up because I want to be able to use these branches and stick them out all over my wreath. So I'm going to start with this longer one. This one's kind of the biggest one of them. And I'm going to put this over here all the way on my edge, right over here. I'm going to have that coming out because I believe, look at how pretty that is. Doesn't that just blend so pretty? You can just really see that really well. I'm going to come in with my next leaf. I'm going to do kind of the same thing, but I'm going to come down here towards the bottom of my wreath just a little bit more. Like you just start thinking about, right, we're painting a picture, so this is the background of our canvas, and we want to have some greenery sticking out kind of all over, especially with this Real Touch leaf because it's so pretty. I want it to really be seen. So I'm going to stick it out kind of right over here behind. So we see I've got a touch here, I've got one here, here, and then I have another stem. I want one stem for the top, so I'm going to take just a part of that stem off, and I'm going to put it down here and mix it in too. I need some greenery always going on to the inside too, so I always want to be real conscious of that. So we have some greenery on the inside. I've got some greenery on the outside going on, and I think it's really taking shape actually quite nicely. I'm going to cut one more piece. Remember, I had 3 strands, so I'm saving a whole entire strand right over here for the top. And then my bottom of my wreath is going to be a little bit more floral heavy. So I'm taking more parts of that second strand and I'm putting them down here on the bottom base, right? So I kind of have just scattered that out. Most of my wreath right here in the middle is still a little empty and sparse, which is okay because we've got lots of flowers to come and bring in. I'm going to take this one and I'm putting it in my insurance pile, okay? And I'm going to take the other strand that I have. So this is the 3rd one of that little bunch we had. I'm clipping it all up, and then I'm going to take it and use it at the very top of my wreath. So I'm just going to drag my wreath down here a little bit. The longest stem that I have, I'm going to put at the very end here. Is this the long one? Sorry. Which one of you is longer? Okay, this guy's longer. He won. All right, he's going on the very end here. Just going to poke him right in there. See how pretty that looks coming out. Then I'm going to have another stem. Dip him in plenty of glue here. I'm going to have him coming out right up here, kind of right behind my bow. And these are all wired stems, so you can see I'll put it in there and then I'll kind of tug at it a little bit because I can tell it what direction that I want it to go with the wiring. Then I'm going to put one right in here so it kind of goes in the middle. There we go. Okay. And again, like I said, all of these stems are wired, and so as you are layering your pieces in, you can take those wires and bend them whatever direction you might want to. You can see me pulling at this wreath right now. I'm getting rid of all the little glue strands that are coming because I'm using my glue pot over here and I'm taking the glue. So you'll have those little spider web kind of strands, but you can just start pulling them off and putting those in the trash can, or use a hair dryer or a heat gun at the end to get those off. Okay, so right now, let me just hold this up. This is what we're working with. We just have a green wreath, okay? But I mean, it's still already looking pretty because of all of the different colors that we use. There's light variations, dark variations, so it's already looking really full. And what's nice is too, is we just started with an 18-inch wreath, but this is clearly moving on already to probably a 27 inches or somewhere in there because of how full we're making it with all of our flowers. Okay, next, let's set the dark blue hydrangeas. I think these are gorgeous. I just love them. I'm a big fan of orange and blue, opposite colors on the color wheel so that they look beautiful together. This hydrangea right here is $8.99. It's 18.5-inch Real Touch hydrangea in this pretty color blue. I'm going to take it. I'm going to use my little Mr. Chompers guy over here, chop him off so a strand is about this long. And I'm going to start by putting him right up in here. I want him to get real close up here. And I'm not gluing these in right now because I am just showing you how you can go and plan out your arrangement, right? So you don't have to glue in at first. You can literally take and just figure out where you want your flowers to go, which is really super helpful, I think, because remember, we're going to be mixing in some tulips in here too. So I'm just going to kind of take these stems and kind of plot them out. I've got 3, which means I'm going to use 1 on top and 2 in the bottom. So I'm just taking these, I'm clipping them down so I don't have that huge stem to deal with. And then I'm just going to kind of temporarily just place them in the places where I think I might want them to go. So see, oh, this flower is so amazing. It's kind of cool to the touch. It feels real. That's what's so kind of amazing about these. Real Touch. Let me see, get that in there. Okay, so I'll have it up there, really close. So you can kind of see I've kind of balanced out where I have my hydrangeas so far. And then I'm going to come in next with my larger cone hydrangeas. So I love this hydrangea because it just adds a really cool coloration and variety of hydrangea. I personally love these cone hydrangeas. when you see them in people's gardens. It's one of my favorites. And what I'm thinking is that I'm going to use, I have 2 of these and I only have 2. So I think I'm going to use both of them actually at the base of my wreath. I'm not going to use one up top because I don't think I'm going to need it. I need a little bit more color and a little bit more, I don't know, just more flowers down here towards the base. So I'm just going to temporarily stick it in there just like this. And you can see I have this really pretty blue hydrangea. The first one we put in, this is kind of the end of my wreath right here where this one is. And so that way I kind of made like my stopping point. It's like, okay, I know that I'm not going to go probably any further than this with that one. And then here, I'm going to poke these 2 in just right in here. I want one to be a little bit shorter and one to be a little bit longer coming out the base. So see how pretty that's going to look. And now don't forget, I've got all those really pretty tulips that I'm going to have coming out too. So kind of just poke those in like this. All right, so I'm liking that placement so far. And then I can come in with my tulip bunches. And again, I'm not gluing anything down at this moment. This tulip bunch is called 14-inch foam tulip bundle in orange. It has 7 tulips with it. It's $16.99. I'm going to clip that tag off of there. Anytime I put tulips in a wreath or any kind of arrangement, I always like to bundle them, right? So I'm just going to kind of come in and I'm going to temporarily look and see, okay, where do I need my pops of orange? Now I have quite a few tulip bundles. So I'm going to come in and I'm just going to kind of place my tulips right where I think I'm going to want those pops of orange coming in, right? So I've got a couple there, 3 tulips coming in here. I'm probably going to, I'm just plotting this out right now. I'm probably going to have 2 coming here. And then I have 2 more, which I think we can go right here. And this will pretty much fill up the bottom portion of our wreath, right? I think that's going to look really good. So I don't need to place those in there. I kind of have my eye about where I'm going to put them all. So let's start with this pretty hydrangea right here. And I'm just going to come back and I'm going to work right back to left. So I'm going to go from the outside back in to the center of my bow with my florals. Okay, I just did a little plotting exercise so I know, I'm sure that what I'm going to do is going to work, right? So I'm going to come back in. I know where I want my tulips to go. I'm just working, like I said, I'm going to put those all, I'm going to cut that. Okay, so what I did real quick is I have these 3 tulips I'm going to bundle together, but I cut all the stems to be the same length, so that way I can dip them in my glue here. And sometimes people will wrap those together with a little bit of wire or floral tape, but I'm just going to glue them all in together right into here. And again, I went from working left, right, I kind of went this way and I worked to the right. Now I'm coming back in as I'm gluing all these back in, I'm working from the right on back to the left, okay? So I've got those glued in. Now I'm going to come back with these really pretty stems. And the other thing is too, that it's hard to tell because this wreath is laying down, is that if you can see, I don't have any of these flowers glued down straight to the wreath, right? I want them to have movement. So I'm sticking them in, but I'm also kind of pulling them up and away from my arrangement. So see how those tulips are coming out from that arrangement? I just want you to notice that. We're not taking this wreath and gluing everything straight to the wreath because, I mean, it looks, if you do that, it looks like a pre-made wreath, right? We want people to be like, I did this, and it looks like it's growing out of your front door or wherever you're putting it. So just a little tip to make sure that when you are adding these flowers, you're not sticking everything, you're not sliding that flower in so far that it's sticking right to your wreath. You want it to have some movement out here, right? When the wind blows, you want that flower to blow a little bit and move on your front door so it looks so realistic. Okay. I'm going to take this one, I'm going to clip it down just a little bit more. I'm going to take it and dip it in the glue. And this is a heavy flower, so I'm putting quite a bit of glue on there. See if I can get that glue not to drop I'll show you how much glue. So there's quite a bit of glue on the end of that, right? Sticking that in. Gotta do that quick before that glue all tries to drop on me again. Okay, and again, that cone, look at how pretty that is, sticking out and away from my wreath. That is exactly how I want it to look, okay? Then my last flower down here on the bottom, I'm gonna take it. It's my last really pretty dark blue hydrangea, taking it, and I'm just putting the glue on it, and I'm putting it right back where I had it, right back in there. So pretty. This is going to be so pretty. I'm just going to absolutely love this. Now, I placed these 2 tulips already on this side. Okay, so we can see that. Sorry, there's 3 tulips in there. I've got 2 more tulips that I want to place probably around over here. I feel like right here might not be a bad position either. So I'm going to take those 2 little guys and I'm going to stick them in. This time I'm going to do this one at a time because although I'm kind of pairing these tulips together, they're going to actually have a little bit of a little different direction as they go in. So this one's going to go here, and that one's going to kind of come up. And then this next one, I'm actually going to try to turn it so it's drooping down just a little bit, right? Because let's think about it. Those tulips, man, they're such a delicate flower. And I tell you, their little heads get real heavy. And so I'm going to have that one kind of, just going to kind of tilt it so it's coming down and out. I might do this one down too a little bit. There we go. So that just gives our tulips, right, a little life of their own. They're just, their heads are kind of getting a little bit heavy. They're not sure how much more spring they can take. Okay, and then I have these 2 left right here. And this I'm going to poke in right over here closer to my bow. Trimming that edge just a little bit, probably taking about 2 inches off of that, dipping it in the glue. I'm coming in here real close to my bow. So this is this wreath has 2 different colors of blue, and then these little pops of orange with the tulips coming out. So pretty. Actually, I'm gonna cut that one down just a little bit too. I'm trimming about 2 inches off the end of that stem. If you can see that. I'm gonna put one more little piece of orange right down in here. Right there. I'm just loving that. I love blue and orange together. I love the variation of the 2 different colors of blue. You know, when I'm looking at this, I see I have a lot of blue here together. I could take and change these 2 stems around, which would be really pretty as well. If you want to do that, you can either wire them that way and just move that direction. That's what's so great about using wired stems. The other great thing is that I've used glue. So if I really wanted to, I could also just pull this out. And let me show you that. Now that I'm kind of looking at that, I think that I might want to take this one, just move it down here. And maybe I want to take this one and pop it right up here. What do you guys think about that? Is that a better angle? Do we like that better? Or do we like it the way I had it originally? Oh, I might like it the way I had it originally. Where they're both popping up there. Okay. I'm going to keep it the way I had it originally. But that's what's so great. Again, on a wired flower, you can always just take that and you can drape these flowers any way that you want them, even once you already have it on your wreath. And if you feel like you've made a mistake, which happens, you can literally just pull that glue out just like this. Oh, sorry. I didn't quite catch it on camera. Let's pull it. I'm going to take and I'm pulling it just real gently. Like forcefully, but gently. Pull it out. All right, so let's say I wanted to move these 2 flowers. I felt like I had too much. That's what is, again, nice about using a grapevine wreath. It's very forgiving. And even though I plotted these out, once I looked at it, I thought, you know, maybe I should have a light blue coming down and a dark blue going up. It's okay. We can change it, right? So now I've moved that one, and I'm going to put this blue back up there. I think I like that a little bit better. What do you guys think? If you like that change, let me know in the comments. And again, you know, I do this almost every day. And still, you know, my first instinct isn't always what I go with. Sometimes I like to change things up. And so I just want to show you, just like in this little tutorial right here, it's okay if you need to change things up. And also, that's why we have insurance. we have insurance so that if there is ever a time that I want to change it up, this is what those leaves are for right there. Maybe it didn't quite plot out how I wanted it to on my wreath and I want to change that. Insurance means if I have a little hole or something that I didn't quite fix the way I liked it, I'm going to come in with those little green stems at the end and I'm going to fix any little places that maybe as I was designing my wreath, I didn't quite see or it wasn't exactly how I wanted it, right? So that's what I call those, that's why I call those insurance. All right, next we're gonna come up to the top with our second round of tulips right here. This little bunch again, this is a Real Touch tulip. And Real Touch tulip means basically they're a foam tulip. And they look so, so real. And they feel real. They just are an amazing, amazing flower. So I'm gonna take these next. And the top of our wreath, we don't want it to be as heavy as the base of our wreath, right? The bottom of our wreath is going to be heavier in flowers. And just because like it would feel like too heavy and too overwhelming if we put the same amount of flowers up top as we did on the bottom, right? So again, I'm just going to plot here where I think I want my tulips to go. And like I said, we're not going to use quite as many tulips on the top as we use in the bottom. I'm going to cut this one down because I already know I'm going to need that one down. So I'm going to take that. Just going to kind of poke those in there where I think they're going to be. And then also remember that on my tulips, I like to bunch them kind of together, right? Like no tulip's just going to be kind of on its own. So probably a bunch of 2 right down here and a bunch of 3 up top. And that leaves me 2 more to play with as I see the need, okay? So let's just take a look at how I've plotted this so far right here. This is kind of what we're looking at, right? So I've got heavier down on the bottom. Up here we have, I think, enough tulips. So I'm going to just go right back and just do the same exercise I did on the bottom. I plotted these out where I want them. Now I'm just going to go in and glue them. Gluing them down. I'm trying to keep in mind exactly where I had them and where I stuck them. That doesn't always work that way, but there we go. I try to take mental note here and just plug them right back in. Sometimes it's really funny, you know, as easy as it goes in the very first time, then the second time I go and I'm like, I'm putting it in the same spot. Why is this so hard? I don't know, but it does. It just does that sometimes. And if you get a little extra glue, you can just take that and peel it right off of the base of a leaf or something like that. Okay, so here we go. I've got those 3 little guys just bundled like this. I like to have some kind of coming up, some again kind of drooping down because the little heads just get so heavy from the rain and whatever else is going on in spring. Okay, so this is what we have going on so far, like this. What I like to do is before I finish my wreath, I'm going to take it and I'm going to put it right over here. There we go. So as I'm finishing up my wreath, I like to actually put it on something that's going to show me what this is going to look like on my door. I happen to have a little wreath stand. You can put this over on any door, use any door hanger that you might have at home, just to kind of give you an idea of what it's looking like, because we still have a couple of stems here that we're going to use, and then we still have our insurance, okay? So we've got insurance, we've got 2 extra tulips, I've got some berries, I've got some white berries, and then I have these really cool butterflies. So all of this stuff I'm still going to use in my arrangement here. And so when I actually get to see it up, I can see where I feel like I need to use those extra insurance things, right? So I'm going to start with some extra insurance leaves, which I'm going to pop in right here. I feel like I have a little bit of a hole right there. So I'm just going to take this, put a nice amount of glue on it, and I'm going to pop that greenery right in here, right in the middle, right in this little spot. And that's just to help fill this out in this little area right here. I'm probably also going to be bringing in some berries right in there too to lighten that up. Okay, and then I'm going to do the same thing on the top, as I'm just going to look see where I might want to use any of my little insurance picks here. I've got this little piece of eucalyptus here. I'm going to just take it and stick it right up here on the top, just to kind of add a little bit more green right up there. Okay, and then I've got this little branch right here, and I'm going to do the exact same thing. I'm just going to look and see where do I need to put this, just to fill out any little areas maybe that could just use a little more oomph, a little more pop. I feel like I've got one. Maybe I'll put this guy right down here. I'll have him coming out. I love this real touch. And you see, as I'm putting that in, I'm kind of putting it into my wreath so that it pops out. I want all of this to look, right, as much movement as possible on this wreath. Like when I tell you when the wind blows, I want it to actually move those leaves. That's really what I'm going for. Okay, and then I have 2 more tulips. I'm going to add these 2 tulips in right in here. I feel like in the middle I could still use a little more. I've got tulips coming down. I've got tulips going up. So how about some tulips coming and growing straight up right in here? And I like that also that it's coming right next to that really blue flower, because I think that that's also going to make this really, really pop and really stand out. Now again, I don't like to leave any tulip by itself, so I'm going to come in with my other tulip here and put it in as well. So it's growing straight out and up right there. There we go. Okay, pretty. All right, so now I've got these little berries here. Again, this little berry spray was such a good price. It's $2.99, right? And so this is just going to add another little texture and another little element to our wreath. You could cut this all up if you found the need to, but I think for our sake, I just have a couple of little places where I'm just going to add this berry. I'm going to add one right there. I think that would be really pretty. And then I'll bring some white in on the other side. So I'm going to take this, put it in the glue pot, whoop, and just put it right in here. So this is also another form of like a filler. Oops, go down in there. There we go. Again, texture. The berry adds movement, which I really love too. So I'm going to add another one of these. And I like to try to kind of keep this as balanced as we can on the wreath. Again, the wreath on the bottom is going to be heavier with more flowers down here than it is up top, which is totally fine. That's the way we are planning for it, right? Let's see if I can stick it on there, right? So there we go. This is how it's supposed to look. So we're okay with that, but I want to be able to put these berries down here on the bottom of our wreath too, so that we have a little bit of, you know, consistency and symmetry. You know, it's not perfectly symmetrical. We're not trying to make it perfectly symmetrical. Flowers do not grow in symmetry. They grow just as God wants them to, right? Wild and beautiful. So there we go. And then my last berry here. And of course, at any point, if you're like, this is too much, I just liked it with just the hydrangeas. I don't like yellow tulips. Use purple tulips. Sorry, or I used orange. Use yellow tulips, use purple, use pink, you know, use any color that you love. I happen to love blue and orange together, but if that's not your thing, that's okay. Use something else. All right, so I have this really pretty long spray right here. Whoop, there we go, we can see it. And I'm gonna take it, and I actually think I might wanna put it right down here, right? For just a little bit more down here. The other place I would consider putting it is over here, but I have a couple of other strands, and this is my longest one. So I think I'm going to take this strand right here, get a nice amount of glue on it, and I'm going to come right up in here and have this coming out right here. So it's going to be next to one of my really pretty, might have to move this little guy over here. It's going to be right next to one of my really pretty cone hydrangeas, which I love. And this berry just adds a little bit of light and a little bit of movement and texture. Okay, I'm going to take this next little piece and I'm going to add it up at the top. It's a nice long piece. going to add a little bit of texture, movement, and light to the top with our white berry. And then I have one last piece, which I'm probably going to move over here and use it right over here on the end. So I'm just going to take that little piece right there, wrap it in some glue, and stick it right over here, right where it can be seen next to that little blue hydrangea just on the end. All right, so again, our wreath is a little bit heavier in the flowers right here, right, with our cone hydrangeas being right next to each other, or really close to next to each other. I'm going to take this one, I'm just going to bend it just a little bit slightly so it goes over just a smidgen. All right, so we have the blue, we have the orange, we have pops of white, and now the last thing is going to be adding these awesome butterflies. I love these little butterflies. This is a 39-inch butterfly spray for $9.99, and these are just what's going to make our wreath just whimsical and magical. So I'm going to take these little guys. I've made 3 clippings off of them. And I'm going to take this little butterfly and I'm going to just stick it right up in here. And what I want to make sure is that, again, like with all of these flowers, nothing is going right next to our wreath, right? We're using that stem to poke it into our wreath to secure it. But then the flowers and the butterflies are definitely no exception. We want those looking like they're flying around our wreath. So see, when the wind blows, the effect that that's going to have, it's going to look like those butterflies are real, which I love. Okay, I'm going to take these 2. Anytime you have a little curly branch too, the other thing is you just take and you just curl those little ends up with your hands right there. Okay, I'm going to put these 2 down here, down in the middle of my wreath, kind of in the center a little bit, so we can make sure we can see those real well. I wrap that little stem real good with glue. I'm going to stick it straight down in there. And those little butterflies, I'm going to move that butterfly up, and I'm going to move that one down and away. Look how fun that is. So think about that. The wind's going to blow. You have a little breeze on your patio, and that's going to just move those butterflies. Give your wreath movement and make it look like, wow, I've got butterflies that like magically circle my wreath all day long. The last little guy is going to come right over here at the very, very end of our wreath. And put him right in here. He fills out that little spot, and plus he's just going to look like he's just circling those flowers right there on that edge. So what a beautiful arrangement. I think it's so pretty. A beautiful bouquet arrangement just like this. Again, I used the cone hydrangeas. I used a berry, a dark blue hydrangea, and tulips on this as well. It's going to be gorgeous, I think, on the door. The only thing I might have done differently is if I had a 3rd hydrangea, I probably would have put one on top so we had some blue on top, but I only bought 2. So there we go. They're right there together in a beautiful little bouquet. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. I hope you enjoy making these flowers with me. It's always an adventure. Every time I do one of these, it's something I haven't ever done before. So we're learning together, and I'm just showing you the creativity, the mind, and the inspiration behind each project of how I kind of think things through. I appreciate you guys joining me. Let me know what you think. I love to see your comments. I read them all personally, and would love to know your thoughts. If there's something that you would like to see or you have questions about, pop that in the comments because I'm curious to know what you think. And don't forget, before you go, make sure you check out one of these other videos. We do so many different videos, Easter wreaths, who knows what, but check out our other videos because they're all so fun and you can gather inspiration from watching every single one of them. So hit that subscribe button for me and follow along, leave us a comment and let us know where you're watching from.